It's time for arguably Australia's #1 beer podcast, The Step Brewers. With your hosts, Papa Sweden and the Pilly Panther, formerly known as the Juice Wolf. Oh, and the Weg. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis. Wow, we're back. And we're back. People don't realise that we're ahead of time. We're in the future as we're ready for a small break. So for us, it feels like we're only here a few days ago because we quite literally were.
We have been recording hard.
Yes.
The thought of beer this morning was not desired, but now I've got one in my beak. I'm okay.
I want to know about this because was the thought of beer not desired because of a Step Brewers thing, or was that because of you attending a drag queen event that you got a little bit choppy at?
Yeah, no, I got day drunk at a drag queen bingo event.
Okay. This is checking out.
Yeah, it was great. I had a lot of fun at Boodle Beasley. Shout out to those guys for... I
will say that in the next Raw Thoughts for the Patreon, I will read out some of the text messages from Ali during that day because they were a good time.
I don't remember saying any of them. So.
One of them included, my lovely partner has just handed me a Powerade. Suppose my night's over. And I did point out to my wife.
I was at home at that point, by the way.
It's not very late, so it's barely even nighttime at this stage.
Yeah, no, I got fired up and the bar staff there was, it's like, oh, you're here. I'm like, okay, sorry. But I'm like, I'll just have, the house IPA because I was upstairs in the event room and they said, oh, no, it's all right. We know you're fussy. Here you go, have this. I'm like, no, I don't
Celebrity status.
No, I didn't like that. But then the things they were giving me instead of the house IPA were double IPAs. I think it was part of the downfall. I see what they were trying to do.
I like that energy.
Very, very smart people.
Shout out to Boodle.
Very much so.
Good venue. Part of the family of venues that support this show. So yes. Very nice to see. Nick, who is a Patreon and official supporter of the show. Through Boodle. Mad respect for him.
Absolutely.
Now, we've got a guest tonight, which is exciting. Our next guest has gone from running the pass to dropping sermons from the brew deck. If you step past behind him, you better whisper, behind or hot pan, or he may possibly whip you with his stash. It's been said if you open a loaf of mouldy bread, his penicillin allergy will flare right up and ain't nobody going home. Here's the original home brewing. Wee chef. Zac from Staves Brewing, welcome.
Thanks very much, guys. What a nice intro.
Oh, it's bloody lovely to have you here. I was just commenting on what a good-looking man you are too.
Total sploosh.
Actually, yeah, gotta give him the sploosh.
And you were saying how much you really needed to go to a barber and wanted to go to a barber. You're all good, man. You're looking great.
I know. I did my hair specifically for the evening.
Love this energy.
Very
Love
slick.
this energy.
Bit of brill cream and some wax.
Love it.
Grease me up, woman!
Now, before we get into what's been in our glasses, my intro says nothing really about you. So tell us just in a quick 30 seconds who you are and where you're from.
Zac Pauling from Staves Brewery in Sydney, in Glebe. I've been the brewer there going on 4 years this year.
Wow.
Prior to that, I spent 16 years, as you mentioned, in kitchens behind the pans, behind the pass.
Very exciting.
Straight out of school into an apprenticeship, and 16 years later, I had the arse of it, and luckily discovered home brewing in that meantime.
Absolute ripper. I'm really fucking looking forward to unpacking that whole evolution.
Absolutely.
I'm struggling about words a bit today.
It's okay, mate.
A few little gaps got lost.
No, it's all right. It's recording artists, I think.
That
Yeah, maybe. Now, what have we had that's been good in our glasses the last few weeks? Panther, what have you been sipping on?
You might see on my noggin I do have a green hat with a hop on it.
It's very nice.
So I did purchase one of those with a few fixation IPAs.
Lovely.
Because I've been struggling to find my West Coast and just need my hop fix at the moment. So I just went nice and
I think
simple.
that might happen tonight.
Yeah, no, I'm looking. I see this little can mini wall here. If we do that.
Oh no! Oh yeah!
We could wall up.
do that. Yeah, but I just needed something, simple, fridge filler as you will, and Fixation IPA was the choice to go with the hat because the hat is sick.
That is very sick, like the cord hat. I have been absolutely fucking frothing over Once More Into the Fray 2021, as well as the...
How many have you had now? Thinking to the future.
Oh, so this is coming out. I've had...
Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit.
3 to 4. But I have been frothing on that beer, especially our live event we did with the boys, and also just been dreaming of more dark motives, which obviously can't happen. But yeah, Jesus, barrel-aged rizzes is just everything I think of at the moment.
That's great. What about you, Zach? What have you been enjoying as of late?
I got my hands on a beer from Murray's Brewing Co.
Oh, yeah.
Quite recently called Le Ponte Rouge. It's a co-ferment beer that they did during vintage, the down in the Hunter Valley with their wine season. So they've co-fermented a Belgian saison and mixed in some pressings of Shiraz grape juice, and it's fucking outstanding. It's easily one of the best beers I've had in 2021.
Oh, I'm writing that down.
Mate, and they've done a blonde version as well. The grape variety they use in that escapes me at the moment. But if it's anything like Le Ponte Rouge, it's race out and find it because it was fucking
horny
brilliant.
content.
That is very horny content. I like that a lot.
Very much like really reminded me of a little bit of a natty wine. Had natty wine vibes. Okay. It was very, very enjoyable.
Speaking our language,
Not
a lot.
Love a bit of a pet nat.
You do love a bit. You love a bit of orange wine.
This is local?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to ask you just one more time, and it's local.
It is.
Orange wine, it's all good.
Step Brewers podcast proudly presented to you by Preachers Hobart, our live event partner in 2021. We have been quiet through winter. There's a reason for it. It's all coming out. Don't stress your little heads. It's going to happen. But it is a great place to enjoy summer and winter. Rotating taps, great burgers, good vibes, sit on the bus, kid and dog friendly. Don't know if I've said that on the show. No. Kid and dog friendly.
That's nice.
I've taken both of mine there, and both have been equally misbehaved.
Absolutely. Also, Patreon crew.
Oh, can you update us on this? Because this is fucking crazy.
Geez, I don't know how many more Patreons we could, really get, but welcome to the group. Homies, friends of the show, Benny Mack, Tim Stockman, Daniel Tape, James Zolo, Damien Shaw, and Michaela White to the Patreon. Holy shit. That's a lot of Patreons that have just joined up.
It's been a bit overwhelming, the support, and a lot of it came during that live event, which was pretty special to have good homies joining the show. And just I don't know what to say. It was very overwhelming. It was a little helping us produce this. There are a lot of costs running a podcast and video setup and stuff. So this show is brought to you by them, and we couldn't do it without it. Now, if you don't want to support the show in that way, that's totally cool too. But what I do ask you to do is what all YouTube wankers do: rate and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment.
I love that this has become your little thing to get the plugs.
I'm trying to be like 2021.
You used to be so against it, now you're all about it.
Yeah. So rate and subscribe. Leave a comment. Leave a comment about my new hair, and I will respond to you any way you please.
I would like to throw in before you do that his hair is cut at a salon, not a barber.
So, that is correct.
If we were in the wild, I would attack you. Even if you weren't in my food chain, I would go out of my way to attack you.
Take that as you will. It's an interesting one.
I'm very comfortable with that.
Really wigs me out a little bit.
If I were a lion and you were a tuna, I would swim out in the middle of the ocean and freaking eat you.
It does.
See what I did there? Anyway.
This is fucking terrible.
It is terrible. Let's get into Sip, Skip, or Sell. Sip Skip. We're thirsty. We've just opened another Staves. Now, before we get into Sip Skip, what have you opened there, Klimt?
I want to hear from Zac on this one. Lost at Sea. We received a very generous pack
Very
from Staves.
generous,
Too generous. Very, very appreciated. And very excited to pick it up this afternoon. Lost at Sea, New World IPA. I like the New World IPA title.
Yeah.
Like that a lot. So
on the bit of a traditional kind of tattoo theme on the can as well, Zac. That's nice. Yeah, that's very nice.
It is, yeah. We actually work right next door to a tattoo shop.
Oh, sweet.
Coincidentally, where I tend to get my tattoos
That's
done.
very convenient.
So through lockdown, we approached the guys next door to see if they wanted to collaborate and do something for a little bit of, commingled shout outs, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they were more than happy to do that for the price of a couple of beers.
Jeez.
So, we didn't have to fork out for any artwork there, which was brilliant.
That is a very handy thing to have right next door.
Yeah.
It looks
absolutely.
It looks sick too. I love that vibe. Very nice. Very
You
nice.
should get that as your first tattoo.
Yeah, I have no tattoos, Zac. I'm a very, very white, timid man.
See the hop in the middle? A great back piece for you.
I told my wife the other night I was going to get some tattoos, and she was just like, "Yeah, I can see you getting that." We were having
I can't.
All right, you guys are both very tattooed men. I'm assuming from these images.
Yes.
I know you are. You're covered. I was having this conversation because my day job is in finance, and we were having this conversation 12 years ago. I would not have even, when I started, I would not have even dreamed of having a tattoo. And I remember saying to my wife, "I'll get a tattoo one day when I don't work in finance anymore." And now I just have these like confident, young guys and girls joining up the company, just like tatted up and just comfortable with it. And I was like, said to my wife, I was like, I might get some hand tats. She's like, you're going to get nothing else but hand tats.
No.
You don't like that vibe?
No, you don't do that.
Is that?
It's frowned upon, isn't it, Zac? Come on, help me out here.
Yeah, man, you gotta pay your dues.
Oh, really? Is that like?
It's like,
fuck! I don't know the rules, man. Fuck.
It's like frat boy, party boy kind of guys who just go in and get their neck blasted on their first tattoo. It's like,
it's like a build it up.
Tattooers are going to do it because they want your money, but they're going to hang shit on you for days on end after.
You're going to be that guy. No one wants to be that guy.
This is why I'm here for this
Here's
journey.
the philosophy. You got to work if you're going to do arms right, you got to work your way down, not up. It doesn't make sense. I mean, sure, people can see, but once they see a little bit of your farmer's arms, coming through, and there's nothing there, it's silly.
It's a big canvas too.
You look like a goose. Anyway,
we're getting distracted. This is super delicious.
Very good grog.
Very snappy. I love that tight bubble. Super tight.
Very nice appearance
Dry.
as well. Exactly what
This
I wanted.
is great radio. That's a really cracking beer. What's the reception to this been?
It's been pretty well received. It's only pretty new on the market. We canned that last week on Tuesday, so it's a week old. But shout outs on social media and everything else has been pretty well received. This is a beer that we've sort of been looking to do for quite some time, like a nice dry hoppy punch in the face West Coast IPA.
Yes.
We've been looking at sort of rejigging our core range IPA around a little while, and I've sort of not had any direction with it. I've sort of not really known where I wanted to take it, and then we brewed this beer, and it was that light bulb moment where I sort of sat on it. I was like, "Fuck, that's what I want the core range IPA to be."
Yeah. I don't think it's done enough. The drier side of IPAs. I mean, I think West Coast have been very much modernised a little bit in the last while, but bring back a little bit of old school. Give that nice dry,
snappy,
make it moreish.
It's just like this is thirst quenching. Like this is like we talked about this the other day. Like this sort of snappy, dry, sulfate sort of a chloride gang rise up kind of shit is just
makes you want a packet of chips.
Oh shit. Yep. Okay. Not interrupting you, Zac, but sort of. I nearly forgot to do this. Even though
are we the podcast of sponsors now?
No, this isn't even a sponsorship. This is just a business who like working really fucking hard. They're in Melbourne, so you know they've had similar year to like Zac. Like they've had a tough year with lockdowns and bullshit, and they just wanted us to enjoy some chips on the show. Now we're not going to eat them on the show.
Oh, the worst kind of food for a podcast. You can't, especially when they're kettle boiled, which I think these are.
But I just wanted to fucking Harry from Chappies, who like does everything, send us a box of chips. I mean,
fuck yeah.
Like what are you going to do? We got like dill pickle chips. That's good. We got mango habanero. They're fucking great.
We have had them.
We got
sea salt.
Sea salt. That's probably good. And like a hot and sassy, which is like a sexy salt and vinegar. They can get in the bin. No, salt and vinegar is fine.
Whoa, man.
Whoa,
No, can't be hating on
this.
Who are you?
Calm down,
Mr. Hentatty's fucking shut now.
Just gonna get like fuck salt and vinegar on my hands.
Hey, I think these are going around in Melbourne bottle shops. So if you do see some, grab some.
Yeah, show them some love because we had some the other night. And they were fucking great.
I'm a chip guy, and they're really nice. Sorry, but yes, I thought that is a good pairing with such a beautiful beer like this.
Jeez, what a segue!
If you do a 4-pack of that and a packet of chips of that, you can have a good evening.
Show some love to a local Australian business who. I hear that Harry's working his ass off doing deliveries, making the chips, packing, everything. So get around them.
That's fucking real nice.
I rated it a lot.
Right.
We digress.
Sip, skip, or cellar. 4 beers for you. Sponsored by another sponsor, Ryan.
Fucking sell out you
from
are, mate.
the Great Beyond Coburg. Will throw in his opinion, a beer right at the end that we might want to sip, skip, or cellar. So thank you for the Great Beyond Coburg for sponsoring this segment. Beer number 1 from our homies at Hop Nation, Synchronicity.
Oh, you said it.
I did it. I said it. I've been really, really practicing that in my noggin for maybe the last 10 minutes because my English is terrible. Anyway, it's all good. It's a hazy double IPA, yet it's 10%. I'd say it's a triple, but anyway, that's cool. It's a juicy double IPA with plenty of fruit flavours, brewed with the hop profile of Vic's Secret, Idaho 7, and Falconer's Flights hops, which is a new blended hop pellet. Think lemon and pine and sweet pineapple. One to enjoy, but slowly as the 10% will creep up on you. Take my word for it at Drag Bingo Brunch. So, yeah, I'd say it's a triple IPA at 10%. So,
no, they called it a dipper, so it's a dipper.
No, that annoys me. But that's I think they've, probably aimed for a double and accidentally made a triple.
What are the ABVs of dippers?
Doubles are 8.
2.
9.9. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I reckon they just printed the can label and it was too late. Anyway, that doesn't mean the beer tastes bad. I'm gonna Hop Nation have been making some really good grog as of late, so you know what? I'm gonna sip on this one. Clint.
Yeah, rate Hop Nation. Good to see they re-released Rattenhund. Is that what it's called?
Still haven't had
it. Good to see that they put out some love and re-released that. To me, I like the idea of some Falconer's Flight blend in there, but I'm probably just going to skip it.
Okay.
To me, it's just like this is just what everyone is doing.
You're
with
about
some
that.
with some more ABV, so I'm kind of at that point.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a fair point. Low ABV, gang rise up.
Yeah. It's not even the ABV. It's just like how many times will someone tell me a beer is juicy?
Okay.
I'm feeling stuff like this at the moment.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's a good wedge for Riz.
So I'm a Hop Nation. Hop Nation pushes me towards a sip. I'm a sip, but I'm very tentative. That's a respectful sip. Like a respect sip.
Yeah, okay.
I'd skip if it didn't have their name on it.
Yeah, true. Zach, what do you think? Sip, skip, or cellar on this one?
I'm a sip. I don't get enough of Hop Nation. There's generally when there's Hop Nation in bottle shops around here, unless you go to somewhere a little crafty, it's all the same beer everywhere.
Same for us.
And so it tends to sort of sort of a bit hard to come by in Sydney every now and then. So like whenever I do see something new from those guys, I tend to like get it.
Yeah.
I usually tap out at about 8% though. Like I like to have a bit of a session.
Yeah.
So it's like anything over 8%, I'm like maybe one can in a mix full.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, you're on the same energy as us, I think, for most of the time. So that's great. Cool. Second beer, Deeds Brewing, Pomona's Harvest. See, I fucked up on the pronunciation of the second beer.
You're killing it, man. You're killing
Anyway, it's a double fruited cream sour sitting at 7.7%. 440ml can, of course, at the Deeds way. Released during August to represent what ancient Romans did, honouring the goddess Pomona.
How much needs Netto and JC love a story?
Oh, geez, don't they?
Love a story.
Using a huge amount of fruit, they have apricot, raspberry and lime, and a little bit of vanilla and lactose. Lactose, boys, Bega Mafia?
The OG Bega Mafia didn't learn their fucking lesson. Interesting.
Bega Mafia have been quiet as of late.
There's stuff coming.
They're, waiting for their time to strike. Maybe this is a sign. Look, anyway, we move on. Move away from the Milk Bar series, yet still a fruited beer, which is a change up from the double IPAs and triple IPAs, and of course their stouts as of late. So
I'm a respectful sip.
I'm a respectful sip for the boys' passion about their fruit, especially Netto. So I am also a
Apricot, raspberry, and lime. That sounds yummy.
I'd like to see how that vanilla and lactose sort of balances. Hopefully more on the subtle side. So I think those boys can get it right. So I'm a sip as well. What about you, Zach?
I'm a skip on this one.
Fair enough.
Yeah, for me, that fruit combination sounds like a bit of a clash. And to be honest, I'm just sick of drinking crazy fruited lactose beers at the moment. And I just want something with a bit of a punch.
Yeah, I think I've avoided them until kind of this point. Like, I have not seeked them out. I can't remember the last
Not
one.
enough people send you them on the show. Anyone who wants to send some real chunky boys, he loves them.
So, in that respect, I'm a sip. But yeah, I can totally understand where you're coming from. Because it seems to be a bit of a hot trend at the moment in Australia. Everyone's getting on not the puree, like thick fruit just
We're
yet.
trying to.
The smoothie sours.
We're
but
trying
you can
to learn
definitely
how to do
see
it.
the trend slowly starting to creep up. So I definitely get where you're coming from.
Thank you to my friends at One Drop for starting that. Who wonderful guys and girls.
Yeah, fair enough. Very good. Okay. Bojack.
Very nice guys.
How are they?
Yeah, girls as well, I assume. But I met a couple of their guys at Brewers Feast in Melbs. Lovely people.
Did very well in the Steppies Awards.
Oh, they did too.
They did. Can't remember if they won an award or not. That's shocking from me, but very well talked about. That's for sure. But they got my attention here with an Easy Times Lager sitting at 4.5%. Munich Hell's Style Lager, say no more. They have just added this to their core range, and by the talk by everyone else that they are doing this, this is a great move by them. So the brewers use plenty of time and patience with this brew. No filtering and 6 weeks in the tank. Low bitterness from the Hallertau. I can't fuck. No,
Hey, you work for a brewery now. That's embarrassing.
No, I'm not. No, I do.
Hallertau.
Hallertau. That's fucking New Zealand. Slight sweetness and multi flavors. This has been deemed a crusher. Perhaps another lager to add to the ever-growing Steppies fridge. Quite possibly.
Now, interesting point here. In the pre-chat, Zach said, I didn't bother sending you the lager because he thinks we're beer snobs.
Love me a lager, Zach.
What he doesn't know is we're such snobs that we love the lager.
Yeah, we've gone full circle. We're back on the lager train.
I'm fully with you there. I'm going to jump in and answer first because I'm an enthusiastic sip on this one.
Enthusiastic, yes.
I am, yeah. I love a lager.
Yeah.
particularly coming into moving into the warmer months coming up. It's that'll be my Staffy. My knockoff will be a big old pint of lager every day.
Man.
Yeah, delicious.
Yeah.
I fuck with Bojack. I'm a seller on this.
I have
Stock
not.
up.
Have I had a Bojack beer before?
No, you have not.
No, I have not.
They're better known for some hazy stuff. They do a beer called Calypso that people quite like.
Okay.
So I like that they're pointing out that they've spent a lot of time in tank here. So
Respect.
has it worked? We will see. But
Yeah.
I'm a stock up. I'm a seller.
You're a seller. I'm a sip only because.
You'll drink all mine.
No, I'm still finding, the perfect lager for me coming into summer. That's sort of been my little low-key mission this
It is
year.
your mission.
Coming into summer, what am I going to stock the fridge with for the warmer months ahead, for mowing the lawns, sitting on the deck, doing some barbecuing.
Dad life.
Wearing my white New Balance sneakers and having a great time. So, we've now got, a lager-focused brewery back up and running down here, the Albert. They're a strong contender. I would like to try some of this Bojack as well.
Mr. Banks Foam is my beer
Mr.
of the
Banks
summer.
Foam is great, And that was Coast Vibes and Lager Life were my
Beer last summer.
go-tos last summer.
Foreigner Czech Pils.
Foreigner Czech Pils is great as well. So look, it's up for contention. That's all I'm trying to say. And if you want to fill the old Stein with some delicious lager, please let me know what to put it in there. Right, Ryan's pick.
Great Beyond Coburg.
Great Beyond Coburg. This man has not done us any wrong yet with his recommendations. Always goes for a little bit of a left-of-field approach, which I respect.
A smaller player, if you will.
Exactly right. And he has done another one for us this week with a brewery called Ida Pool. Ida Pool. Apparently these guys are at Gabs and at a very, very small stall. I didn't even see them, so I do apologise, Ida Pool. But he's recommended the Bronze Ale sitting at 4.2% in a little cheeky 355ml can. So there you go.
Is a 355ml can cheeky or lazy?
I don't know how I feel about a 355. That's a real can of worms right there. Ryan says it's a relatively new project with wort brewed at Westside Ale Works, fermented and aged next door, largely in barrels. Ooh, okay. Made with rye malt and some rye bread thrown into the mix. It's dark, effervescent, spicy, doughy, and profoundly sour.
Okay.
That's a nice little description. Everything feels like it has a place in this beer. Ryan said when you ask the brewer how his beers are made, a lot of the beers are a bit hit and hope, a lot of happy accidents that somehow end up being refined, interesting, and complex. Another brewery flying under the radar in a very similar fashion to Sombra Mesa.
Well, I do like some Sombra Mesa. Look, respect to someone putting themselves out there and try to get in the mixed culture game. That's hard work that I couldn't do myself. So I'm a sip.
Happy accidents, throwing some random shit in the air and see what comes out. Interesting.
Okay.
Bronze ale. Can't say I've ever had a bronze ale either. So
Never heard of it.
I respect Ryan too much at this stage to skip anything at the moment. So I'm going to sip it. But I could, after sipping it, very much think I might skip it afterwards, just from the sounding of the beer. So
I like the sound of it. It sounds delicious. Spicy, doughy, profoundly sour, dark, effervescent.
Sounds like a sourdough in a can, basically.
Yeah, sounds great.
What about you, Zach? How do you feel about that beer?
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Dark, bready, sour ale. I think I'm a seller on that. I'm going to get a couple.
Yeah, it sounds delicious.
Stick a few in the fridge next to my wildflowers and bring them out on a bottle share night when we get out of lockdown.
Yes,
That's good energy, to be quite honest. Very, very nice.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm about that.
And that
I'll
is
have a look out for those guys.
Yeah, no, that's interesting to see what the other beers that they brew there as well. It's That's very intriguing. I'm very intrigued after that, as I always am with his recommendations. So
yeah, thank you, Great Beyond Coburg.
if you want something a little bit left of field and a little bit different, also any kind of good grog, and you're in Melbourne.
Great whiskey knowledge. Great whiskey knowledge without the bullshit. I will
Okay,
say.
well that's nice for once, isn't it? Great Beyond Coburg, also online as well. Some good grog, and thank you very much, Ryan, for sponsoring the show.
Before we get out of Sip, Skip, or Cellar, nitro can. Do I treat it the same as any other nitro can?
If you've watched our Instagram page, you actually have to straight arm that can.
Is this the straight arm can? A few people have told me about this before you came on the show. That was quite funny.
He's going to pull that for you live right after we take a little break. All right, do it.
You want to do it? So, before we get into this, it could be terrible because I've never opened one of these beers before. This beer in particular. So if it doesn't work, I'm going to look super stupid. But I've noticed everyone's splashing the fuck out of their nitro cans, which doesn't need to happen. So I've just, up and down 3 times as we want to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I understand everyone's opening it. CO2 is escaping. This is the deal, and then pouring it hard. But you know what I think? I think you just need to open it a little more gently and then pour hard.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm just giving you a little bit more space just to.
All right. So look, I'll do it again. 1, 2.
Jeez, that's a double shake.
3. Well, technically that's 6. So I've just released a little bit of that CO2. Now I've cracked it. There's no mess. And now I'm just gonna. Now, why can't we all just do that? Why do we have to cover our bloody benches in handsome Elvis?
Looks pretty good to me.
So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Have drunk a guinea or two in my time.
You definitely have. Now, Zach, tell us about this beer. It sounds really fucking delicious. Smoked pineapple and lime nitro sour.
So
you can smell
this
it.
beer this beer came about kind of during 2 conversations, I guess. One back in maybe 2019 at a barbecue. I was roasting pineapple over charcoal, and we were just serving it with some pork. I squeezed some lime over it, and I was like, "Fuck, that's tasty! I should make that into a beer."
Oh, fucking chefs!
And then, and then again, pretty recently, I was talking with a friend of mine, Rosemary, and she was telling me her love for Lichtenheiner. And I kind of just thought to myself, I was like, fuck, I'd completely forgotten about this style of beer, like this smoky sour. And I was like, God, that would work really well with the pineapple.
Yeah.
So I got my hands on a bag of oak smoked malt, and the rest is history.
So as soon as I smelt it and sipped it, I was like, to me, it tastes like, it reminds me of having, it's going to escape me here. I'm having a mare. I'm having a fucking mare. I keep forgetting things. What is the delicious Mexican dish? Al Pastor. It reminds me of the pineapple on Al Pastor for some reason.
So for me, through fermentation, that beer, as I was doing tank samples of that beer, it was throwing so many. Are you guys familiar with Tepache?
Yes. Yeah, we were talking about this.
So it was throwing Tepache vibes, like this, just fermented pineapple kombucha kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then by the time it bottomed out, the sugar had obviously fully fermented out, and we were left with this smoke character. But it was just giving me these massive hints of ginger beer, ginger spice. Yeah. That smoke and the pineapple and everything just sort of working together and melding to create this really odd character beer that turned out completely different to what I had in mind when I brewed it, but has turned out to be a better beer than I initially planned.
It's
fucking awesome. Yeah,
I'm really glad you went with nitro. It's just sort of really rounded it out.
I think the nitro really softens it.
The softness.
I haven't got any lactose in this beer, which I think if I did do again, I might do a version with lactose. because I just feel that the nitro will just hold on to that lactose body a little bit more.
Yep.
But I also feel like this beer could work really well as a highly carbonated beer, like around like Hefeweizen style.
Super effervescent.
Super spritzy, really super effervescent, like easy drinking. Punch it in the sun. It's low ABV. It's only 3.8%. So like for me, highly carbonated version, that's a beach beer.
Yeah.
You know, chuck a little white rum or something in there and you got yourself a fucking banger.
It's funny you should bring that up because to me, I was like, I want to have this in a cup with heaps of crushed ice, pour it over there and like some white rum or some cachaça or something and just fuck.
It's holiday. It's holiday.
It actually tastes to me like being in Mexico or maybe to an extent Brazil. Like,
or with COVID restrictions, Darwin.
You don't bring that up on a Sydney-based episode.
No,
Fuck.
No, well, you know, come on. Like, that's reality right now.
That's fucking wicked. I actually really love that. I'm not a big person for smoking beers.
Yeah, I mean neither, but that's really subtle.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like
nicely balanced.
a bit of an outsider because like the biggest beer nerds love the ham water. But like I love smoky food. Like I sold barbecue for 2 years, like smoked meats and stuff. Love smoky food, but I just can't fuck with it in beer. But that's really like, just like, it makes your mouth water. Like I want to go eat tacos on the beach.
You know, nicely smoked pork belly.
Oh, stop it!
Yeah, I was a little concerned that I'd underdone it because I am a big fan of smoking beer. Like one of my favorite beers that we've done in the last couple of years is a Rauch beer.
Yeah.
And I love that sort of, like you said, that ham water, like that deli meat, bit of like cured bacon character. So for me, when this beer came out, I was like, oh, it's not quite smoky enough. But then I sort of brought a few people into the brewery and got them to taste it, and they were like, no, it's where it needs to be with the fruit.
It's just everything's in its place.
I think also with the ABV of the beer, if you went too smoky, it would be a little bit polarizing as well. So
yeah, definitely.
So I think absolutely nailed that on the head. Yeah, really,
it's fucking cool.
Really fucking delicious beer.
Really cool.
Hey, look, I won't keep you much longer with the questions. Let's bloody get into it. Like, Zac, tell us a little bit about your story and, you know, how you got to Staves. I mean, as I know, I probably got the timeline a little bit wrong here, but started as a home brewer, then you were a chef, went to a winery, and then you worked at Hop and Grain, also went to Young Henry's, and then you worked at Staves. Is that about right?
Kind of.
Close.
I never worked at Young Henry's.
Okay, good to know.
So
Firing the
started
producer now.
Yeah, we should fire Emily right now.
Started out as a chef. Basically walked into an apprenticeship the day I finished my Year 10 exam.
Yep.
You know, I think I was one of the lucky young kids who knew exactly what they wanted to do from a very early age. I think I was maybe 8. I remember telling my parents, "I'm going to cook. Like I want to be
awesome.
a chef." And, you know, I grew up in the Hunter Valley region and, you know, there was only a couple of avenues that you really did if you grew up in that area. It's like you went into the mines, you went into hospitality, or you kind of tried to be successful at having a football career. And so, I chose the hospitality route and ended up working in the Hunter Valley area amongst the vineyards. The winery thing is kind of combined with that.
Yeah.
So I was working at a restaurant that was attached to a winery. So I've never really officially done any winemaking, but during vintage, I would volunteer. I usually took my 2 weeks annual leave through vintage, and I'd be down there hosing out pressing baskets and, you know, watching people do these amazing things that I had no idea what was going on, but I was just super interested in it. It was just curious, you know, like I really got into the whole fermenting side of things as a chef, and that just interested me quite a bit.
Yeah.
So having that avenue, like having that ability to be like, well, I'm going to take 2 weeks holidays and go and work downstairs with the winemakers. Like that was really fun. Like I just enjoyed it. It was like a holiday.
They say like all chefs have their fermenting phase too. Like you have,
absolutely.
You have your charcuterie phase.
Every one of my chef mates has a stinky fucking cupboard somewhere in their house that's got like cabbage or kimchi and pickles and kombucha and a sourdough mother and something going on.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. That's it's about right. It sounds like COVID for me last year, making a sourdough. So I was like, geez, I'm not going to use this anymore.
My little brother's a chef, and actually, when I was younger, I wanted to be a chef. Nowhere nearly as talented as him, but he now works at a bakery because chefing life was just killing any creativity he had outside of work, obviously, which we might get into in a minute. But during the COVID stuff, he was just like, "What the fuck are all these people baking? Like, we've got heaps of bread at work. They should just come get it. Ours is going to be way better than theirs." I'm like, "It's not about that, Jack." And he's just like, "Yeah, well, it's fucking better, okay."
I did the same thing, man. I made so many loaves of focaccia through the fourth lockdown. It's fucking ridiculous. You've got nothing else to do. You're locked in the house and you've got flour in the pantry. What else are you going to do with it?
Yeah, I made pasta.
Everyone did something.
What about the home brewing stuff?
So home brewing sort of came towards the end of like the chef career where I started getting the arse of it. I had one of those stinky fermentation cupboards in my house full of scobies and sourdough mothers and kimchi. And I kind of just stumbled across home brewing by accident, I guess. I was living in a share house and I got a Cooper's home brew
that
kit
sounds,
from my dad.
that sounds about
Fuck
right.
Yes.
Yep.
Fuck yes.
Just the no thought bullshit gift. Like I think Dad was walking through Big W and just was like, "Get him that. That'll be great."
Yeah.
Especially if you're living in a share house.
So we started brewing beer, and like the first one was fucking brilliant, and then every one after that was terrible because we had no idea about sanitation and cleaning and anything else. So it kind of sat in the garage for a couple of years, and then a friend of mine, Sam, who was the original owner of the Hop and Grain, opened up a shop, and it sparked my interest again, and so I decided to give it another go, and there was a lot more information online at this point. So I understood the importance of cleaning and sanitation and what could go wrong if you didn't do it. And then all of a sudden we started making good beers. And then it kind of just rabbit holed from there. Yep. Like there were five boys living in their share house, and I was the only one who was going to do it. They all started chipping in money, so it evolved, and it got to a point where I was going to work, and on my break I was on my phone like flicking through podcasts or flicking through forums and reading all the information I could get, joining homebrew clubs, doing everything, and then fast forward 5 years, I've got a 3-vessel system, a couple of SS Brewtech bits of equipment. I've spent close to $3,000 on some just bullshit, like pipe work and hoses, basically. And my partner at the time was pregnant, and she was pretty close to being due, and I took some time off work and ended up working at the Hop and Grain with Sam. And about 6 months later, I'm still there and I'm managing the shop. And that's kind of how I fell into the industry.
How good.
And then the way I got my position at Staves was after about 1.5 years of applying for positions unsuccessfully because I had no experience, essentially. I ended up winning a homebrew competition that Staves had run. And part of the prize for that was I got to go in and brew my beer on a full scale.
What was the beer?
I did a double coconut brown ale.
Oh, nice.
So that was for part of their winter dark beer festival, the Winter Solstice Fest, which we still currently run. So I got to go in and do that and just hit it off with the owner and the brewer there at the time. went back for all the processes. You know, I popped back in to do dry hopping. I popped back in to do the keg. And then about 5 months later, I got a phone call out of the blue from Steve, the owner, and he was offering me a position. And so naturally, like, jumped in with both feet. I was like, you know, no one else is giving me a shot. You know, there's no doors opening. I'm taking it. So, you know, left the only industry I'd known for 16 years behind, took a massive pay cut, but if I can tell you how happy I was.
Oh yeah, wow.
You know, like, just and mental health wise as well. I was so stoked to be out of the kitchen and just sort of have like a semi-regular 9-to-5 job and be able to be at home with my new family, and it was brilliant. So I started working at Staves, and then about a month into me being assistant brewer, the head brewer decided he wanted to leave and have a bit of a tree change. He moved down to the South Coast. And so I was offered the head brewer role.
Far out.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very much a baptism by fire. You know, it was like just pushed off the edge, and it was just like, right, well, you know, you want it, here it is, fucking go for it.
So good. That's awesome. Like, that the owner backed you so hard to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you know, like Steve's gone on record saying that it's like, you know, you can teach someone how to brew, but you can't teach passion. And I think he saw that in me from the beginning. And so he was just like, you know what, we can figure this out as we go along. And I think it was from the day I started to the day that we won our big award for the Pale Ale was 2 years into the job.
Wow.
that's crazy. I fucking love hearing those stories. It's so hard, like, you know, as someone who's going to start recruiting brewers soon, you know, we were having the conversation. It's like, yeah, no home brewers. We need professional brewers. It's a big setup. But at the same time, like, there's so many, you know, people like you would have been back then that aren't getting into the system because it's such, it can be a hard industry to get in. Like, every add-on crafty pint is like X years experience, like every industry, I guess.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've talked about this before, and like recruiting people, not resumes, is like a very important thing, and passions, and yeah, people who connect. I'm very, very passionate about that, but very torn.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a real tricky one. But, you know, all power to you for making it happen. And, you know, I love that quote from Steve saying, you know, you can teach how to brew, but you can't teach passion.
Yeah, fucking hell.
That was something that sit with me for a while, and it's something I definitely agree with 100%.
Feels that. Love it. Love it.
I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, there's so many home brewers out there that are so knowledgeable. You know, like they know more than some of the brewers that I know that have been in the industry for fucking 5 years. You know? But you know, it's so hard to get a shot.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is that there isn't like a structured higher education other than the course in Ballarat.
Yeah, which is like booked out all the time.
It's booked out so often. Like, I'm trying to get into it, and it's just, you know, as someone in the industry, I'm getting knocked back for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, there's like there's IBD and stuff like that as well, but you know, that's such a hard thing to do unless you're actually working in the industry, because you really need to be able to have hands-on experience and theoretical knowledge. You know, so it's like one of those things where I'm like, you know, a lot of people ask me, oh, what should I study? What should I do? And I'm like, you know, if you can get into Ballarat, great. There's a course that runs here in Sydney at Ultimo TAFE. Richard Aronson from Young Henry's is involved in. Which I've done that. So hopefully next year, maybe next intake, I will try my luck again with Ballarat. But
seems to be a big shortage. I feel like more and more we're seeing ads for head brewers and production brewers across the country, which is crazy given the 12 months we've had. But you know, maybe I'm just more conscious of it 'cause doing the same thing. But they're just constant. Like you just see them all the time. Now, speaking of brewing kit and, you know, those exact kind of people, what are they going to be frothing on if I ask you, you know, what's the setup at Staves? So let's talk through brew house, you know, number of vessels. I think I heard you say 3. Setup, get a bit nerdy, FVs, brights. What do you got working?
Mate, our system is so homebrew scale.
Yeah,
it would surprise you. Yeah, it would surprise you what we're doing. It's 100% manual. I've got a kettle and a mash tun that are repurposed dairy vessels.
Oh, you're on the dairy route. Hey, some of the best beer on this fucking show comes from old dairy vessels. Like, no,
absolutely,
no
man. Look at what the boys are doing at Currumbin.
I was going to say,
that's exactly who we think of when we think of dairy vets.
I consider some of the most thought out, like, technical beers in the country and fun. Like, fuck dairy.
Yeah, honestly, man, I think working on stuff like that has made me a better practical brewer because I'm not relying on just pushing a button and a computer checking my temperatures and stirring the mash. Like I'm in there, I'm involved. You know, it's very hands on. I don't have a hot or cold liquor tank, so you know we've got to physically heat up all the hot water that we use on brew day.
Yeah, that's a long day.
It's very small, man. Like our brewery size, so we've got 2 10-hect tanks and 4 5-hect tanks.
Wow.
And then our mash tun and our kettle is in that space as well, along with our keg wash, and it all fits into a large single car garage size space.
Fuck. I feel really bad for bitching about all the space.
Anyway.
Yeah, I was getting real pissed off about space and fitting tanks in the other day.
Have some respect.
On some layouts, and I'm looking around this garage now and being like, yeah.
We could do it.
Man, the upside is we save a lot of money on hoses.
Hey, you got to look at the positives.
That is true. That is true. And I'm guessing at that size too, you can be super versatile. Like, I mean, this is a much bigger range of beers, and obviously way bigger beer mail than you needed to send. So thank you again. Yeah. Much bigger range of beers than I expected to see. I thought we might get a couple of pales and a couple of IPAs, which would have been tight as well. But yeah, you've got a whole raft of stuff. So do you feel like having that small system, like, you know, yes, sometimes at the end of a brew day, you're like, you know, fuck me, would love a 4-vessel gas-fired, let's crank up. But at the same time, do you think that lets you, I guess, stay interested and stay passionate?
100%, man. So we run 10 taps at the brewery.
Yep.
5 of them are core range, and then there's 3 seasonals, and then sort of 2 experimental taps.
Yep.
The fact that we do such small volumes means that I don't tend to brew the same beer more than once a month.
Yeah, nice.
So if we brew a core range, you know, I'm getting anywhere between 7 and 8 kegs out of a batch of that beer from a small tank.
Yeah.
You know, from a big tank, we're getting anywhere between 16 and 18, depending on dry hop rate and things like that.
Wow.
So obviously those beers, they're sticking around for a while. So, you know, if they're moving through the tap room, you know, that'll last me a month. So it gives me the ability to brew something new really regularly. And I'm in a really good position where I am, you know, like Steve has never been one to sort of suggest beer styles or be like, hey, why don't we brew this? Or let's back up a little bit. Let's just maybe brew some safe beers. I've got a lot of creative control and freedom.
So important.
I basically just get to brew whatever I want as long as the core range is in stock. And I think I'm in a really lucky position there because I would say that there's not many brewers out in Australia that have the freedom and the luxury to brew whatever they like.
Yeah.
Like I have.
Yeah, that's a powerful relationship. This is fucking delicious.
What we're just having the double IPA.
Ava D.
Oh, the Ava.
Ava D. That is
Ava D, yeah.
bloody lovely.
Yeah, so to Simcoe in there, Idaho 7. I'm like,
Of course, I like it.
ticking all the boxes.
AD is my favourite beer.
Yeah,
that we brew. That is easily my.
I get a lot
it's a happy medium between a West Coast and a juicy IPA.
I actually get a lot of like San Diego area sort of like that lower part of the West Coast vibes. Like, you know, if it had some aggressive bitterness, then yeah, whole West Coast. But yeah, get that like lower part of the US West Coast, like fucking delicious. Wow, I love that.
Yeah, a little bit more fuller in the mouthfeel as well. It gives that little bit.
Yeah, but not sweet and cloying.
No.
Yeah,
no. So it's not very impressed.
I can see like having 4 of the beers now, like, you know, fun stuff, core stuff, the New World IPA, and then this. Like, I'm already like vibing with you as a brewer right now. It's delicious.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Zach, you know, you're currently in lockdown at the moment, so, you know, we've got to ask the questions. And it feels like a while since we've actually done these sort of questions because we had a big lockdown.
Well, I mean, we're hoping when this airs, this will come out a bit earlier.
And we do hope that you are out by the time this airs. But currently, at time of recording, you are in lockdown, which sucks. Come on, Gladys, get your shit together. Anyway.
And ScoMo.
Yeah.
Auntie Gladdy.
Yeah,
Auntie Gladdy. Fuck me.
But how's the extended lockdown been for you at Staves in particular? Have you had, you know, a particular increase in sales? I know sort of that was a bit of a trend
like online?
Last year, like online in particular. So that's sort of the first question. But has it allowed you to focus time to brew a little bit more as well, like being stuck in where you are?
We actually haven't brewed in a little over a month now.
Oh, shit.
Because of the tap room?
Just because of the tap room, yeah. But however, it has been quite busy for like the last 3 to 4 weeks, particularly in the last 2. With the most recent canning run, obviously last week, it's allowed us to really do a bit of a social push on new beers. We've released 10 different kinds of mixed cases on our online shop.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And so that's just fucking blowing up.
Yeah,
you know? Like, I'm literally waking up every morning to anywhere between 15 and 30 online orders that I need to go into the brewery and pack and ship.
That's
I think
crazy.
the fact that we're doing the fact that we're doing mixed cases as well is really helping our cause because people just want a variety. So we just were like, well, why don't we just curate a bunch of mixed cases and let people choose what the fuck they want?
Yeah.
It's got to help too that I hear you're a lot of fun on the virtual pub Fridays. So
I try to be. I don't know.
I've heard this.
I don't know how much Emily's telling you. Like, I don't know if I'm fun or just really drunk by the time I get on.
She said you're a lot of fun, and that's all I will say. But
I like to think I'm a laugh.
But what I will say is that does, you know, having those people like the kind of people who are in the virtual pub, you know, beer champions essentially, like having those people wanting to buy your beers because they like you as a person to start with. And then just, you know, getting out there and telling other people, like, that's got to help. And I don't know, that stuff makes me warm and fuzzy during all this COVID bullshit and lockdown because, you know, to hear that you're flat out from taking online orders and filling them and stuff, it's like, yeah, getting around indies and locals and hearing that is just warms my little heart, like blackened, dead heart.
I mean, yeah, lockdown's been hard for a lot of people. And you almost feel guilty in saying how beneficial it's been for us.
Silver lining. You don't have to feel guilty.
Yeah, 100%. You know, but I think lockdown and COVID in general has forced us to become the brewery that we maybe should have been 2 years ago. You know, we were fortunate enough to get a grant from City of Sydney Council during the first lockdown, which allowed us to do our first canning run.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then so from there, it kind of launched that online sales. It launched us going into retail and wholesale and pack. And it's given us the exposure that I don't think we would have had if we continued trading as a brew pub.
Yep. And it's, you know, like there will come a time where reality will go back to normal, and not vaccinations will happen. Blah blah blah. We won't get into that, but and you might go back to that heavily brew pub model. But you know what? When you've got full brights and you've got some cans to go in, they're going to get snapped up, and you'll get those new fans. And I mean, yeah, trying 4 of these beers, I'm very much like, I can see your direction and style, and like I'm a fan. Especially drinking that fucking Aberdeen.
That was great beer.
That's just like those resinous Simcoe apricot. Yes, please. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear like it's pushed you to become that brewery that you needed to be. Like, because we hear that from so many brewers. Like this was my kick in the ass moment, or this was yes, we're doing very well at that, but we should do a bit of this. Like beers like that pineapple beer are too interesting to have stuck in Sydney on their lonesome. Like, we need them as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. Like before COVID, we were only kegging. So 90% of our sales were in venue. And then there were a small selection of craft beer venues and pubs in Sydney that would get in contact with us pretty regularly and just be like, hey, what do you got that's new? What's interesting? I want something that's not XPA or a lager because I've got contracts for those. So give me something fun, which was like, well, I can do that. Like, I can brew whatever the fuck you want. Come in, we'll do a collaboration.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
100%.
Now, you come from a chef and hospitality background. Wanted to get a little bit deeper into that. I've come from hospitality some time ago now, and I feel like my brewery lets me jump back in and dabble a little bit in hospitality. My brother is heavily into hospitality. A lot of my friends
and I'm just getting into it.
And you're just getting into the deep end, my friend. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit is, I guess, the culture around hospitality, and a culture in one way that you've left. There is a culture in Australia, and I think from stories we hear, Kitchen Confidential is a really good example. There is a culture around kitchens and hospitality around working yourself to the bone. You won't be ashamed to say it. I'm not ashamed to say it. Like, the rush of being slammed in like a rush, and then you and your team smashing it and like working yourselves to the bone. It's exciting sometimes, and it's also like, disgustingly hard, underpaid work at times as well. How do you find, now that you've left that culture and being in, I guess, brewing, and obviously, the last 12 months or more has been really hard on a lot of people. How do you keep yourself grounded and keep yourself sane and, like, I guess, look after the people you work with, coming from, a background where people really aren't looked after?
I don't work with anybody. It's just me. So I talk to myself a lot.
How do you look after you? Like, how do you do? Because you've come from one of the best and worst industries in the world. Like, what do you do to look after Zac?
I have a lot of hobbies. I am like slightly ADD. Yeah, serial hobbyist, man. Like, I'm ADD when it comes to like just activities outside of work life. I play golf, I fucking spearfish, I scuba dive, I kayak, I fish, I like to hike, I go mountain climbing. It's just like, there's always something every couple of months. Like, all my friends, they have a laugh about it. It's just like, I'll start something and they'll be like, what's it going to be in 2 months' time?
Yeah, no.
He started giving me shit about that, even though he does it too.
Oh, I am the worst.
Man, I love it. I love it. Like, I like to just have something that I can be passionate about outside of my work life, even if it's only for 2 weeks, and then I move on to something else. But like, I'm all about, if you're going to be in it, fucking be fully in it. Like, give it a proper go. And then, you know what? If you get bored or you like something else, like, just do it. Like, I'm all about just giving something a go.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, there are times that I fully miss that adrenaline rush of the kitchen. Like you said, you have those massive services and you're just getting pumped and you balls deep and you got fucking dockets across your rail and you look at them and you're just like, there is no way I'm getting out of this. And then all of a sudden, everybody just starts talking to one another. It's harmonious. It's like you slip into this. You slip into this sort of like realm where no one actually talks, but you just know what everybody needs to happen.
Orchestrated chaos.
Orchestrated chaos, 100%. And, I miss the heat and I miss the stress and I miss just the laugh, like the banter that you would have in the kitchen with a big brigade and a big team. What I don't miss is 85-hour weeks, missing every single wedding, birthday, holiday, whatever it is, weekends. I don't miss working nights. I love essentially having a 9-to-5 job, but still being in hospitality. So, I've removed myself from a circumstance, but I've still got one foot in the door. I don't think I could ever work a job that's not hospitality. Like I couldn't have left the kitchen and gone and worked on a construction site or gone and worked in the mines or something like that. Like I had to be involved in hospitality in some avenue. And I love it, like when the venue is open, I try and do at least one night behind the bar a week when I can, just so I can, talk shit with the regulars and see how people are enjoying the beers and what they want to maybe see come out or, get their general vibe on like what we're doing and if they're enjoying it.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, that sort of leads into my next question about dealer's choice, Zac, which is an idea that you've been running on Instagram. It's, running through a bit of a this or that suggestions and for the next brews or hazy or clear, high or low ABV, hot
like
varieties.
on Instagram stories.
Yeah. So
sick.
Love that energy. So will there be? Is that something you're going to continue to do? Because I really like that.
It is, yeah. We haven't obviously brewed that beer yet. As soon as we start brewing a little regularly, that beer is going to happen. I've already done the recipe and everything for it since that Instagram story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely could be a series, I reckon. Like keep it going.
Yeah. So the idea behind that is I'm going to run maybe 3 dealer's choice options and release those beers, and then the idea behind it is the favorite or like the highest rating beer out of the 3 will pack. So we'll put that into can and we'll get it out into the world.
Yeah.
So I mean that whole idea was kind of brought out by boredom and maybe a little lack of inspiration at the time. It was just like I was burnt out. I just brewed 5-6 new recipes for this can release, and I was just kind of like, fuck. You tell me what you want.
I love it though.
And so I just came up with like a bunch of tasting notes and flavor options, and I was really happy to see that everybody just wanted a West Coast. West Coast.
What we want, mate.
It knocked hazy out of the water, but absolutely obliterated Nipas and oat creams. Fucking people don't want them.
No, people are over them.
Well, people who follow me don't want them.
I like those people. They are my people.
Fucking snappy, resinous, delicious beers.
That's right.
This is so good.
It's fucking great.
I just wish you didn't drink any of it.
Sorry. Anyway, there's more in the case.
My pick of the night so far. No, the rest is for yours for photos. It's sad for me.
Oh well. Well, Zac, let's push ahead. For Staves in 5 years' time. Let's go wild here. What do you see from Staves, from yourself? Any grand plans for the brewery for yourself in 5 years' time? Let's jump ahead a little bit.
Mate, I don't know, to be honest. Like, if things keep traveling the speed they're traveling now, we'll definitely outgrow our space.
These beers taste like you have already. Like, I can't see why this, particularly a few of these, couldn't be in hands all over Australia. Like,
like I like to describe ourselves as the small brewery who's making big noise at the moment, I guess.
I like that.
It's like, we, after winning Champion Beer in 2019, I thought it was going to do some really big marketing things for us. And it kind of, it's a bit of a fault of our own as well. We didn't really jump on that bandwagon maybe as hard as we probably could have, but I thought it might have sort of put our reach out there a little further. But we're such a small brewery, and we're in a market in Sydney with some big contenders. Like we're surrounded by Young Henrys and Wayward and Grifter and Source and Batch.
All big package brewers.
All big package brewers, yeah, but also big brewers that have like big face value when it comes to tap space here in Sydney.
Yep.
And even though we're doing beer that's just as good as them, it's a fucking hard sell to try and get a publican to buy a beer that maybe will sit around longer than somebody else.
Yep.
5 years time,
the pack option is a game changer. Like
100%, yeah. But yeah, 5 years time, who knows, man? I see us outgrowing the space we're in, and potentially needing to move into maybe a bit larger venue to maybe do production. I feel like we would keep the venue we're in and run it as a bar.
Yeah.
Because where we are, we've got a lovely little beer garden out the back. We've got a band room upstairs, and we've got a small space on the bottom floor where the brewery is, where you can hang out and drink as well.
Yeah.
So if we moved everything to a production brewery, we could just run that as a bar, as a venue, essentially, because we have a full license.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see us do a few more packs, maybe pick up a canning line of our own, so we can release what we want when we want, rather than having to do a bulk release.
Yeah, that's tough work. The Currumbin boys are a good testament to that, and our mate Stuart Ocho as well.
Like,
yeah.
It's a similar situation, like when we do a canning run, to make it worth our while, we need to basically fill up all the tanks and pack everything at once.
Yeah.
Which means we're left with this huge amount of stock that we need to move through before we can think about doing any more pack.
Yeah. And you've got a massive brew days at the start. Like, you're doing 5 turns or 6 turns, and then at the end too, when you've suddenly got these empty tanks, it's like, it's not a chance to rest. It's a chance to, you got to get it back into tank.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What kind of beers is Zac putting out in 5 years? Let's just ignore the Staves thing for a minute. Let's just imagine, you and the fam are just doing whatever. What kind of beer are you putting out in 5 years? Dream a little, like not even a plan. This is just like, what would you put out in 5 years?
I think I'm putting out the kind of beers that I'm putting out now. I brew what I want to drink. I don't really jump on the bandwagon as much as maybe I could. I definitely do at times, because fucking things sell, and if somebody else is doing them really well and I do one, then I know I'm going to sell it, because that's what people want. So yeah, I'm going to jump on and do an oat cream, or I'm going to do a Nipa, because Mountain Culture are killing it. So why not try and jump on their tailcoat a little bit and sell some beer? But 90% of the time I'm brewing the beer that I want to drink, and those beers are like hoppy IPAs and some nice resinous pale ales. And I don't really see that changing too much. Like, I don't do a great deal of crazy bullshit beers. I sort of leave those crazy beers up to like Dayton and places like that.
Yeah.
And then that's their thing. They do it well. Fruited beers, I think in Sydney, like the boys at One Drop, like there's no competing against them when it comes to like big fruited sours and big fruity beers. Like they've got that locked in. So I just want to sit and do beers that you can sit at a table and drink 3, 4, 5, 6 of them with your mates.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
Like that a lot. Like that a lot.
But, why don't we do a segment where you might have to brew something a little bit silly? Something maybe like a give us your gaps pitch. Let's do that, shall we?
Give us your gaps pitch. I want it now. I want it good. Give us your gaps pitch. Please and thank you. I just want that gaps pitch.
Well, this is very unusual, but give us your Gabs pitch has been listed as my segment tonight. And I'm okay with that. Oh, you're DJing on the board, are you?
I am. I'll stop.
Now, we've just opened, how do I say that?
Oh, no. English.
Onomatopoeia. Oh, my fucking God.
We are not...
I was reading it as one word at a time, and I'm like, a nom?
Yeah.
At top? Yeah. Onomatopoeia. Double hazy, 7.9%. Might have poured you a big pour
Come
there.
on, Zach. Can we just get it up to the 8% and then we can really tick the box?
I was going for 8. I was going for 8.
Now, as Steppy's fam know, following the July month, which was my full birthday month, I only drink juice now out of my juice box. So thank you, Fox Friday.
You're a change man.
Thank you, Benny from Fox Friday, for my delightful glass. That was the best present, Benny, I got. And thank you for supporting the show, Benny from Fox Friday.
Jeez, raw.
That was raw. Now, give us your Gabs pitch. You know the segment. You're obviously a Steppy's fan. Everyone is. The show that Brewers listen to. We want you to pitch a Gabs beer to us that will win you the 2022 Gabs Beer Festival. Not the countdown, the festival. So we've had legends in the past do some pretty silly things. Some grapes pressed and unhopped and served uncarbonated and called wine. That
seems to be a big thing. You love that beer.
I like that one. That's one I remember very fondly.
Very, very well.
You did, Ali, you pitched one on an episode, which was a smooge clone where you were using Skittles. So
I don't think it was Skittles.
Wasn't it Skittles?
I can't remember.
Yeah, you did a smooge clone. And people got up and about that. So, Zach, I want to hear from you. Give us your Gabs pitch.
Yeah, we've heard the beers that you want to brew in 5 years.
And are brewing.
Now we want to hear the beer that you think is going to win you Gabs 2022.
Get all those neckbeards talking.
Neckbeards. So I have had a little think about this. I have watched and listened for quite some time, so I was hoping that this would come up.
Most people hate this. That's great.
I quite like it. I've gone a little nerdy. I'm going to throw back to my time in the kitchen with this one.
Nice.
So there's a very classic French dish called a consommé, which a lot of people have probably heard of. If you haven't, it's essentially a stock that has been clarified.
Super clear.
Super clear. And the way that they clarify it is by using something that's called a raft. And now a raft is made out of very finely minced meat and egg whites. And what they do is they add this to the stock once it's at a simmering temperature. As the meat and the egg whites coagulate, it draws in all of the impurities that are in that stock and clears it up. So very similar
I had
to like
no idea
adding,
that's how it worked.
Yeah. So very similar to like adding wallflock to your wort at the end of boil.
Yes.
So I've had this idea of doing a black pudding imperial stout and using egg whites and pig's blood to coagulate and clear up and fine the wort before transferring it over to fermenter. So
there is some thought.
He's
here.
had some time to think about this.
yeah,
one.
I've had some time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've listened to a few episodes. I've been planning this.
Well, I like this.
I
So the
fucking like
idea
that.
behind it, obviously like an imperial oatmeal stout, oats being a big part of black pudding.
Yep.
Throw a little spice in there, a little bit of nutmeg, some mace, some allspice.
Yeah.
Ferment it out, aiming for around 10%. But then I'm going to fortify it with some Calvados.
Oh yes. Pork and apples.
So
Come at me.
another big pairing for black pudding is roasted apple. So some apple brandy, fortify it up to about 14%. But then I'm going to barrel age it in some Pedro Jimenez barrels.
Oh, Christmas time, bitch. Woo!
So you're not going to taste meat. And meat's not it's not an unusual additive in beers these days. You've got the
get you on the news.
Marrickville pork roll from Batch has got, they made their own gelatin out of beef bones and pork bones. You've got the gyros or whatever it was from Willie the Boatman this year.
I've made the mistake many times of saying that was someone else, and people keep correcting me. Everyone who's corrected me,
but
in
it's
the comments.
been adding protein like meat, food stuffs into a beer has been done for years in the form of oyster stouts.
Yep.
So it's
classic
not an
pairing.
odd it's not an odd thing. So you're not going to really taste the blood. It sounds strange. My only concern is that it may throw a little bit of a metallic fault from the iron and the minerals from the blood.
Yeah.
But with the Calvados and the aging on the staves, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'd fucking drink it.
I'm super happy by this one.
I'm picturing.
I think that would give the neckbeards a big old stiffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big PP energy.
Big PP energy. Big Jenny any.
Yes, big Jenny.
Henny?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's.
I'm a
that's
bit
nice.
shook by that.
Yeah, no, that's real nice.
Right, so let's call it a black pudding imperial oatmeal stout, and I'm going to name it "There Will Be Blood."
Oh, I do love me a bit of what's old mate's name? Daniel Day-Lewis.
There we go.
Thank you. Fuck, I'm so slow tonight.
That's okay, mate.
It's fine though. These beers are delicious, and I love my juice box so much. Thank you, Fox Friday.
Oh, jeez. Okay. On that note, I think it's time to wrap up. But we do thank Zac very much for being on the show.
It's been wonderful, mate.
It has,
I'm very, very happy to.
That's a
have
good
you
way
on.
to leave it. That's one of the best Gabs pitches we've
There
had
will be blood.
in quite some time, mate.
That'll be up there in the when we
Gabs
put this to a vote.
When the Steffi's Gabs pitch top 50, I reckon that's going to be that's top 10 potential at least.
This is just coming.
Mate, if we make top 5, I'll brew it.
Yeah.
I might not get the Pedro barrels, but I'll fucking brew it.
Yeah, the Pedro barrels will be tough, but Christmas barrels. I love it how actually the last couple of meat beers on this show, Chelsea was going to do a watermelon jerky beer because she fucking loves jerky. And I think Karen from Easy Times is going to brew it now, which is a terrifying thing to think.
Yeah, that is.
Can you imagine
the two of them paired together?
Can you imagine Karen and Chelsea in a brewery together working? It is terrifying in the best way possible.
I'm looking forward to having Karen on the show more than just for 3 seconds where he sculls beer.
Where he outsculls you.
I see that beer working though. I saw that.
No, I agree. That's why I was sort of just grinning.
Salty, umami, and a little like watermelon sweetness. Like that'll work.
Yeah, been some fucking rippers. Spitballing here. I know we're about to end, but I do think we'll ask the friends and homies of the show what they think about this. But I almost think that we could get people to upload videos to Instagram, fans of the show, of their own Gabs pictures. We get those numbers up. We got 30. Producer M's telling me we got 30-something Gabs pictures. We could get 50. We could get 100 if we got some fans up and in this.
Who knows?
I'm
Who
fired
knows
up.
what the future holds.
I'm fired up.
But for now, we do thank Zac, and we do thank all the sponsors of the show, especially tonight.
Apparently there was a lot.
You know, no, Chappies wasn't a sponsor. Delicious chips. We did have them in a little break. Delicious. We do thank Preachers, of course, for sponsoring the show. We do thank Ryan at the Great Beyond Coburg for sponsoring.
Get on the greatbeyond.com.au. Is that their website?
100%. Yes, something like that.
Something like that.
Something delicious. Yeah, and of course, we do thank our Patreon crew.
Welcome to the newbies.
Yeah.
You're doing strong.
100%. But of course, we do, most importantly, thank Zac for his time tonight and for coming on the show. Mate, the beers are fucking excellent.
They're very, very good.
Got me really fired up and can't wait to see more and more great grog from you. So,
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully I'll see you in October.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
That will be nice. Love to see you and have a beer with you. So,
Absolutely.
if not next October, we'll do it. This has been Step Brewers Podcast. Toodaloo. And now I will play the music.
Thanks for listening to the Step Brewers Podcast. If you like the show, be sure to rate, subscribe, and leave a review to help other beer lovers discover the podcast.